Sometimes when you look up into the sky and you see a blinking star and you think, wow, that's such a beautiful thing to see. But maybe,
Right.
those stars may have already died.
It bends space and time at the same time. Wow, that was a lot of time in one sentence. It sounded like a Marvel phrase. This calling from the universe.
Oh my gosh, I am sorry for being dramatic. Hey everybody, and welcome to EngSup, a podcast where we are going to talk about everything IELTS related, and hopefully by the end of this video, you are going to learn something useful to improve your IELTS score. A quick word about me. My name is Tan. I'm an IELTS teacher. I've been teaching IELTS for 8 years now, and I have an IELTS score of 8.5. And joining our discussion today is our very special co-host, Dario.
What up, everybody? How's it going? And welcome to EngSup. Wow, the third episode. How do you feel, Thung?
I feel great. I feel like we've come a long way, even though it's just the third episode. Of course, sometimes it's a little bit intimidating, right? To look at yourself for a very long time, because I think everybody is self-conscious about themselves, right? How do you feel?
Yeah, it can be very intimidating at times, like when you're, especially if it's your first time self-recording
Right.
of yourself
Yeah.
with a camera. So it can be very intimidating. But yeah, we've been doing great so far. Oh, by the way, to all of the new viewers that are joining our channel for the first time, my name is Dario, and I am a professional singer, and I am currently based in Bangkok, Thailand. I usually live in Vietnam, but at the moment I'm doing a performance contract here in Thailand as a singer. So what's up?
All right. I think we should jump right into our topic today.
What's the topic for today?
I think it's a topic
Tell
that
me.
you are gonna love very much because we're gonna talk about
Okay.
space and stars in the sky. Historically, it's one of the most challenging topics for every IELTS taker because I think it's such an abstract thing, right? The universe, I think science, even though we have progressed so much in terms of how much we know about space and stars, there are so many things that we haven't touched on or even discovered, right?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to cover, though. There's a lot to cover. And by the way, everybody, I was also an English teacher back when I was, living in Vietnam. I mean, not actually too long ago. So, and this is a question that a lot of my students will always ask me, teacher, how do you, what would you do if you get asked these type of super difficult questions that you don't have an answer? But we'll get that. We'll get into that later on. How can you deal with those kind of questions? Because the focus of that question is not what you think it is.
You don't need to know everything about every topic, right? There are topics that we know next to nothing about, but it's
Right.
okay, right? It's okay to admit that you don't know much, but part of the IELTS test that requires you to try your best to make a guess or to come up with a satisfying answer, right?
I feel that it's not about the answer itself, but it's about how you deal with a question that you don't know the answer. What are you gonna do to solve the fact that you don't know the answer of this question? How are you going to get around that question?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How are you going to focus the answer to the question you cannot answer? Oh, that sounded like a riddle for a second. But yeah, technically it is. They just want to see how you deal with that kind of question.
Right.
And that's it.
And I think that throughout this episode, there are going to be questions like that. There are going to be things that we might be unsure about, but we do need to find a way to navigate our way through the question. We cannot
Right.
just say that I don't know the answer and that's it, right? Please move on to the other question. That's not how the IELTS work. So don't get intimidated about any topics. If you don't know about it, just admit it and try your best to find a way through it. Right? Having
Right.
said that, I want to jump into the topic today, space and stars. You are interested in this topic, right?
Oh yeah, very. I've always been very obsessed with the cosmos and the sky, the night sky especially. It's something that has always caught my attention. you know, in a very deep level. And I don't know why. Maybe in my past life I was an, I don't know, astrophysics or something. But I really enjoyed the mysteriousness of the, you know, of the cosmos, of the universe. So it's something that I really, really enjoy diving myself into.
Right.
So
Do you remember? Do you have a childhood memory where you kind of felt this passion or this calling of the universe, and how like you are drawn to the mystery of it all? Do you have
that
any?
sounded like a Marvel phrase. This calling from the
Oh my
universe.
gosh, I am sorry for being dramatic.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. No, honestly, like it was you know, back when I was in Cuba. By the way, I'm originally from Havana, Cuba. Um, Back when I was there, it was, you know, like it was a thing that every time there will be like a how can I say this in English?
A TV program?
No, 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 no. Like there's these events that happen every certain amount of years, right? That is a star shower or shower of shooting
Meteors?
stars,
Right.
meteors. Yeah, like meteor shower. That's the name. That's the exact name. Meteor shower. What it does is like there's a lot of, you know, like celestial bodies entering the Earth atmosphere, and it's a beautiful event to watch. So we will always wake up early in the morning, like probably like around 4 in the morning, and just go out into our patio, and we just stand and look at the sky and just watch this meteor shower. That's one of the memories that I have, you know, that really um, made me feel connected to the sky for the first time. Because I was like, I don't know, like 6, 7 years old back then, and it will be something that we will always do, you know, like as a family, just like wake up early just to watch the meteor shower
Right. Yeah.
when it happened.
For me, my fascination with the sky and space actually stems from the fact that I had trouble sleeping at a very young age, and I would wake up at around 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, and of course there was nothing to do back then, right? So the only thing that I could do was look at the darkness and look at the sky, and my mind, like certain questions would pop up into my mind, like where are we really in this universe, or
Right.
if there are any other planets out there that can inhabit people, or are we in an experiment of some aliens or stuff like that, right? Yeah, like I know it sounds so surreal for like a 10-year-old person to think those things, but I
Right.
actually thought about them. Do you
Not
think about
really,
them?
not really.
Yeah.
Like I've always felt that, you know, there's something out there in the universe. That's for sure. There is no way that it was something just, you know, boom, popped out of existence, like you know, like nothing.
Right.
Like it was like it was a coincidence, you
Right.
know. Like I feel like there was something, certain things that, or something that just created it. I don't know. So, or there, maybe it was a coincidence, and but still, there has to be a higher chance of, you know, life out there
Right.
than what we know now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there's something out there that, I don't know, maybe we haven't been able to reach.
Oh my gosh. We haven't gotten so
But
too far into this topic, and already we're
I
getting
know,
very
and
deep.
we're already talking about we're already
So,
talking about aliens and
yeah.
stuff. Like
So
what?
let me just take a few steps back. You said that there are these events that happen every few years, right? The
Right.
the meteor showers or things like that, right? And it's a cultural thing, right? So everybody in your family or in Cuba, do they?
Yeah, it will be like it will be many people in Cuba. Because here's the thing, like in Cuba, one of the things that I really like is just like, especially if you live in the not on the countryside, but like in the
Suburban?
more suburban area, like there's not a lot of light pollution,
Right.
right? There's not a lot of light pollution, so therefore you at night you have more access to see the sky than if you were just in the city center. So yeah, that's a good thing that that I experienced when I was a child back in Cuba.
Right.
And I feel like that's one of the things that I really love about Cuba as well, is the night sky. I can literally see the Milky Way when there was blackouts because there was no electricity. my one of my you know one of my hobbies to do when there was no electricity at all will be just like, lay back on the floor and just look at the sky. And I will see literally the Milky Way, which is like a side of the galaxy. But that you're only able to see that when there's literally no light at all. And of course you have a very, very clear sky. So yeah, that was when I really, really fell into this urge of always be, looking at the sky for the first time
But
ever.
how do you
So,
feel exactly when you look up in the sky and you see the Milky Way and like the celestial bodies and stuff?
there is so many questions that pop out in my mind that, like sometimes it goes even as deep as like not only why are we here, how we actually came out to exist in this universe that where we are right now, but like also as deep as also like spiritually, right? Like what are we made for, or what are we made from? And like, and one of the things that I've learned is just like we are actually made of, you know stardust. We're a collective amount of atoms that come from space, that came from dying stars, supernovas, and all of those things. So yeah, I feel like it's something that really mesmerized me, but at the same time scares the hell out of me.
Right.
Because it's like anything that is related, because space is beautiful. It's again mesmerizing, and it's how can I say,
All
space.
encompassing.
Yeah, and it's so, but it's so beautifully made and so beautifully chaotic
Right.
at the same time
Yeah.
that can be scary too. So it's like it's this mixture of feelings, but at the end of the day, that's where we all go.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I'm forever curious about what happens out there, right? The fact
Right.
that sometimes when you look up into the sky and you see a blinking star and you think, wow, that's such a beautiful thing to see. But maybe,
Right.
those stars may have already died at that moment.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's just the light of its last few moments that was transmitting into like your eyes, right?
No, and here's the funny thing, that when people say that when you're looking into the night sky, you're actually looking into the past.
Yeah. That's
You're
so
looking into the past because the light that you are receiving took
years.
an X amount of years to get to you. And that object that you're looking at now probably doesn't even exist anymore. And
Yeah.
the fact that it's now when you're getting it for the first time, is like, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because, it's like, wow, I'm seeing this star how it was, I don't know, 20,000 light years ago. I mean, 20,000 years ago, which is the distance that it is from Earth, right? 20,000 light years means that the light that you are receiving took 20,000 years
To reach
to get
you.
to you, to reach you. So that is insane to
Yeah.
think about that.
And I also find it very fascinating in the sense that our bodies, like the way atoms work, it's just like how planets work, right? Like how the electrons, the photons and the electrons just revolves around the protons.
Around the
No.
around the core, around
Right.
the atom itself.
Yeah, the atoms.
The ones that are like, oh, sorry, I hate the microphone. The ones that are like, revolving around the core of
Right.
the atom, right, is right here, and then the photons, right, are the ones like, rotating
Yeah.
at a very high speed.
And essentially,
by the way.
those are the planets, right? Each molecule is like a small planet, and we are literally made of like thousands or even millions of those atoms.
No, not that.
Oh,
Like trillions,
yeah.
bro. Like
And so-
trillions.
And so, in a way, we are a part of the universe. It comes from a very small part of our body, and then we look into like something so huge that we cannot even comprehend. Right? And that's the thing that's like forever, eternally mind blowing to me.
It's unfundable. Like people cannot like they cannot grasp. We can't grasp the vastness of the universe itself. Like it's because like I said before, like 20,000 light years. That's like saying, I don't know, 20 centimeters
Right.
of distance, right? Because that is nothing. We're talking about there's like places where are billions
Right.
of light years away.
Yeah.
So-
like I watched this TikTok video. So it started at a very small scale, as in like an atom. And then it just zooms out and out and out and out. It's just, and to a point where we're like, whoa. So the solar system is like
It's nothing.
A kernel of sand in this desert that is
Yep.
called the universe.
Not even that. Like it's even small.
Yeah.
It's like an atom.
Yeah. And at one point, my mind was just, my mind was like, that's it. I cannot comprehend anymore, like how huge and vast this universe is, right?
Indeed. Indeed.
So I want to come back to your childhood a little bit. So did you learn about stars and space at school?
We did, but not much though. We had like the 8 planet things, like like there was 8 planets, and like we learned some of the names of like galaxies. What are they? What else did we learn? Like we learn about like celestial bodies that are that are the ones that accompany the planets
Right.
or a star, because like our sun is a star. That's the first thing. Please, people. Learn that, because I've seen people saying like, wait, is the sun a planet? I'm like, oh my God.
You know why? For example, in Vietnam or in Asian countries, we talk about planets as if they're stars, because the Vietnamese word for planet is sao. Sao, S-A-O. It means it means stars and planet at the same time. Right? And way back when, like we used to have this very popular anime called Sailor Moon. And there are these sailors that took the name of like Saturn and Jupiter and stuff. And these characters...
People started relating that to stars.
For the longest time, I would confuse the two concepts between planets and stars. And I think it took me a while to realize that the only star in the solar system is the sun.
It's the sun,
Yeah.
Because the sun is the only star. But like they so they taught us that at school, like the sun is a star, and that there's different stars out there as well, and that the planets are the celestial bodies that revolved around the sun. So what else did we learn?
Not much, right?
Not much. That's it. After that,
The key takeaway is the education system did little to help us understand about the universe.
To help us understand about the universe.
Yeah, I think,
and I feel like it's sort of sad, because we as human, we come from there. So we should, I don't know. I feel like in my personal opinion, there should be a day where people just cut the lights off, and it's a day for just people to take a moment, a couple hours, to sit down and appreciate the night sky, and like to see the stars, and like to actually look up, like the movie Look Up.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
that movie was
don't look up. You know what?
In this case, look up.
As soon as you said don't look up, in my mind, I was thinking about
You
Ariana
thought about
Grande.
it.
No, Ariana Grande was like, can you sing a little bit? Do you know the hook?
I don't know the hook.
No, I don't want to sing
I don't know the
here.
hook.
But yeah, like as soon as you said don't look up, it's Ariana Grande's voice inside my head. But I
God.
think that even though schools never really actually went deep into the facts about space, I think that kind of fueled our curiosity more, right? I feel like we as humans, we don't want to be ordered, or we don't want to follow what other people tell us to do, right? And so the
Right.
fact that schools never really only touched on a very few basic stuff about space made us even more and more curious about what happens out there. And then we start to read books, we start to watch videos and stuff. Right? So I think that's kind of like a pro and a con in itself, right? Right.
Yeah. Honestly, like, and the thing is, like, there's been also a lot of documentaries that talks about it, and regardless of that, like, we have that side of us that will always feel attracted to anything that is related to the cosmos, to
Right.
space.
Yeah.
So, like, so when we start seeing those things, like, it immediately will caught our attention, and we'll be like interested in, like, oh wow, that looks so beautiful out there, like, so the fact that people actually pay attention to it and just sit down and start listening and, oh wow, so this is what happens, these are the kind of objects that exist out there, and this and that is amazing, and I feel like people will definitely learn a lot about it, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you also like to watch movies, or like sci-fi movies, or those that talk about this theme?
Yes, all the way.
Give me one,
um
a name.
Interstellar.
Love that.
That's honestly Interstellar. By the way, everybody, you should take a time, if you haven't watched the movie, find some time and look up for this movie. I think this was the best movie of 2020, I believe, or 2021.
I don't think so. It came way back.
Or
I think it was like 2016 or 17.
19?
I don't remember.
No. I don't think it's that old.
For me,
I don't
it
think
was
it's
kind
that
of
old.
old. Yeah, it came out, I think, around when Gravity
Maybe you
came
just
out.
watched the movie late.
No, I watched it when it was released in theaters, and
Hmm.
it was already a few years ago, right? Because like
Okay.
Christopher Nolan, after that, he released like Dunkirk. He also released another movie, and then Oppenheimer, and he takes his time, right? So that's why I believe
Right.
that Interstellar was,
Well, yeah, you're right. It
yeah,
was probably like, 2017 or 2018.
Right.
Well, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, Interstellar is a movie that will always have this effect on me, that it will be sort of like give me like an existential
Right.
crisis. Because it talks about things again that we cannot grasp, but
Yeah.
that we cannot comprehend at all, right? But at the same time we do, in a very weird way. So they talk about how time is relative, and that we are the ones creating like the different possibilities. Oh, guys, this is crazy. We're about to go
Very
way too
deep.
deep.
Yeah.
Just look at
Yeah.
look it up, find the movie and watch it.
I think-
and then let us know in the comment section what y'all think about that
One
movie.
of my-
Interstellar.
We all know that Christopher Nolan is one of the best movie directors out there, like of all time, right? But for me, what makes him so great is like he is not afraid of going deep or talking about stuff that are complicated or difficult. Because I think
yeah.
around that time there was another movie called Gravity, and I actually preferred Gravity for the fact that it just creates this feeling of floating
Yeah,
in
but
space.
Gravity-
Yeah, it's different,
Yes.
right? But
It's a whole different thing, but at the same time, it's amazing too, because it makes you see also the danger,
Yeah.
the dangerous part of of space, even if you're just in orbit,
Yeah.
right? Which is what I mean by being in orbit, guys. Is like when you are just going around the planet at a certain altitude, so that where there's no gravity at all. So yeah, it's very dangerous up there, as well.
right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Like, of course, like in terms of themes and messages, I think Interstellar is on another level. But in terms
Oh
of
yeah.
watchability, rewatchability, I think Gravity beats Interstellar because I actually never rewatched a Christopher Nolan movie because for me, one time is enough. Like, one time is enough for me to digest. And sometimes, like, I don't know, I don't have the urge to rewatch something that was very intellectual, right? And but so did you rewatch Interstellar?
Um, as a matter of fact, after we finish here, I'm gonna
Wow.
watch it again.
But technically, you didn't
No, but
rewatch it.
I did. I did. I have rewatched Interstellar like I don't know a couple more times. I haven't watched it in a couple of years now, but yeah, fine. I'll rewatch it again. But honestly, like Gravity, even though it's made by one of my favorite actresses ever, which is Sandra Bullock, which is the main character
Right.
of the movie, I love the movie because of course the intensity of it, and I feel like people will always look up for that, wow, rush of there's so much going on, but at the same time I don't want to look, but at the same time I want to look what's going to happen because
Right.
like this is getting very intense and like, oh my god, just go for it. You know, so and then Interstellar is a different approach
Right.
and goes beyond Earth Earth's orbit. They literally go into, a wormhole and they end up in another area of the universe, which is completely unknown. So, because they were looking for life in a different planet. But anyways,
Yeah.
this is going way
You
too
lost
deep.
me at wormhole. So
What do you mean?
I don't
What do you
even know what a
mean?
wormhole is. Is that real or is that a made up concept?
No, it's not a made up concept. Like we haven't been the problem with wormhole guys, it's when let's say, let me see if I have something here that I can use as an example. A wormhole, it's okay. All right, let's imagine for a second. I can't believe this. I'm doing this. Let's imagine for a second that this is space, right? Right? Y'all see it. So this is space. So, in order for you to travel from this point A to point B, you need to, take a certain amount of time to get there. Now, what a wormhole does is like it bends space and time at the same time. Wow, that was a lot of time in one sentence. So it bends space time, and instead of you having to go all the way from point A to point B, you just cross it and you just get to the point
So
B
it's more like
in
a
a
portal.
faster. It's sort of like a portal to point B without having to spend many
But
years
then
to get to point B.
why are they created?
So okay,
Where did it come from?
okay, so it usually they haven't been able to see a wormhole yet. Black holes are different,
Yeah.
but a wormhole can be created, right? However, they've been able to recreate it, but at a very small scale. Yeah. So and they're very very volatile. They're very hard to maintain.
Right.
So they're very unpredictable.
But theoretically,
That's what I'm saying.
it exists.
But
The theories
theoretically,
check
it
out.
exists. It's possible to make it.
Right. Right.
So, oh my god.
So you are.
We just started talking about quantum physics.
I think so. Yeah, we just like jumped
my
from
God.
talking about looking at the stars to talking about wormholes.
I know. I mean, they're part of space, so.
Do you feel like people from your culture, from your country, generally like to talk about this stuff, or is it just like an isolated case for you? Like you're one of the
Maybe
very
like
few.
I'm definitely not of the very few. I'm sure that there's a lot of people from my country that like this kind of topic. Because for example, when I was a little kid, my grandpa, when I used to look at the sky early in the morning, we were walking to go to the bus stop, right? To go with our days. We'll be talking and I'll see this huge star, right? In my head will be like sort of like a star. And I'll be like asking like, oh, what kind of star is that? And he was like, no, that's not a star. That's a planet. And I was like, oh, really? How come? I thought it was a star because, I was like, now you see, look at it. When you see a star, usually a star will flicker. That's a star. But when it doesn't flickers, that's a planet. I'm like, interesting.
Wow.
Didn't know that. And that's one of the things that I feel like, and that was my grandpa. So I feel like there is maybe this generation now, they really don't like to talk about those things.
Really?
Because I feel like, especially in Cuba, it's a very not sensitive, but very complicated thing
Right.
to talk about because with all of the problems that are going on over
Yeah.
there, like I feel like people of this generation don't like to talk about it, but people from previous generation, they definitely.
For me, it's the opposite. For me, in Vietnam, back when I was a child, I never really discussed these topics with my family. Honestly, right?
Really?
Yeah, and because back then people were too preoccupied with how to make ends meet, how to provide for the family, and how to care about things on this
Yeah.
earth, right? Because Vietnam was just coming out of a war, and
A very different.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we were just trying to pick ourselves back up and to catch up with all the giants or with the rest of the world. And so these very intellectual or abstract things were not within our attention span, or were not one of those
Right.
things that we wanted to. Yeah,
Priorities.
yeah, but now it's different because now for the Gen Zers out there, I feel like they have a lot more time to think about this stuff, and they don't have to care about working or earning money or things like that. And so these,
Well, I mean, like many of them, they do care though. Like especially the ones that are like like in grades like high school, grade like the last year of high school. Like they're already like getting worried about what kind of job they're gonna get and like how they're gonna be able to make money. Because for the most part, like I feel like that's one of the most important things for them now, and that is like earn income. They really want that badly.
right.
So, yeah. Based in my experience, and you guys let me know in the comment section if you like this kind of topic. Do you like talk and have conversations with your families or friends about space? Let us know
Right.
in the comment section. So anyways, I feel based on my experience, right, teaching 12th grade, from what I've seen, there's a tendency for some students to actually be interested in all of this, astrophysics and like things related to space, because like even to aliens and like if there's life in
Out there.
out there in the universe, um, there's a tendency, but there's also a huge percentage as well of other students that are not interested at all.
Right.
That they find the topic even like, no, that's too
Yeah.
much.
They draw the
I can't
line,
handle it.
or like they
They
get
draw the line like
their mind.
yeah, they get flustered
Yeah.
very quickly
Yeah.
with that because it's too much.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because at the end of the day, it's something that, like I said before, it's very difficult to grasp at time. You have to be very open minded and willing to actually dive deep into this kind of topic because it's very heavy. So I feel like it's all about perspective of what you feel interested in.
Right. Well, and so do you think that many countries are spending a lot of money to invest in
Right.
space exploration and space travel? Is that a waste of money, in your opinion?
Interesting question. All right. I'm gonna hear your
Okay.
opinion first.
What's
your take on that?
because of course, I have a fascination about space as well. Maybe I don't do a lot of research into this topic as much as you, but I do think that there are things out there that are waiting to be explored and discovered. And so
Right.
for me, space exploration is an aspect of life that is worth investing in. even though it may take a lot of years and a lot of money. Like, I'm not saying that the world doesn't have a lot of problems for us to care about, but
Right.
we do need to because humans, the 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 moment that we think that we have learned enough is the moment that we stop progressing, and the moment that we will devolve as a race. And so
As a race,
yeah,
yeah.
and so for me, it's kind of like a necessary thing, even though there are projects that may lead to nowhere, even though there may be billions of dollars that were put into things that may not
Will be
yield,
lost
yeah,
on the way.
may not yield results. It's is necessary step for us to.
Honestly, I totally agree with what you're saying, and to add that even more, because recently, I don't know if you know this, but India made their first landing in the moon, and was a big step for humanity, and a lot of people were criticizing the fact that India put so much money into that, having so many problems in their own country and economy, right? So people were like judging and like questioning the fact that India spent that huge amount of money. And honestly, I will say this: in order for a country, if the country actually has the possibility to do that, because every single country has a lot of problems, every single one of them. There's no country in this world that is like, I'm free from, any issues and responsibilities, right? So I feel like a country that is especially developing at a very rapid rate, that will also be part of it. Because like, in order for you to have uh, um, a more sustainable and advanced society, you also have to incorporate technology. And the fact that they were able to reach this new
Heights. Right.
goal, right, which is like landing in the moon, that already sets them into many steps ahead of many other countries. Will Which will lead to more investment in it, and also giving more employment to more people. And like, there's gonna be more advancement in that
Yeah.
sense of exploring space and all the technology that can bring, because they're gonna do studies in the moon. So that means a lot as well, because they can, I don't know, harvest elements that are not from Earth,
Right.
and like they can use it to create new things.
Yeah.
So I feel like you said it's a necessary step to do,
And
if you have the resources for it,
right.
of course.
And I think that many people have this assumption that space travel is completely dissociated from the research that we do on Earth. But it's the fact that, exploring space is a multidisciplinary aspect. Like, it involves the development of all the fields out there, like from physics, from chemistry, maybe biology or
Right.
astrophysics and stuff like that. And so the
Yeah.
fact that we are progressing and making developments in the space exploration field, maybe those developments can have applications on Earth. Right? For example, the fact that we are developing the cameras to look deeper and deeper into space, maybe those developments may someday be funneled into the cameras of our iPhones or of our phones, right? Who knows, right?
Very true.
Yeah, the
They already have some sort of like with the, I am not I'm not an Android person, but like Samsung, for example, I think it's the S21. They started from the S21. The S21, like, it's able to capture a very, very crystal crisp,
there is
clear
some controversy about that, but
picture of the moon.
yeah. Do you want to get into
About
it?
the AI thing.
Yeah.
About the AI thing, and okay, so technically the phone,
Detects that
what it
something.
detects the picture itself, but then of course it uses AI to enhance the quality of the picture.
Right.
That's what it does.
Wait,
It's not that
wasn't
it
it
just
that the AI added the holes and the bumps and the craters onto the picture artificially? Because I think there was one YouTuber who tried to make like an object, like an orange or like a brown, a white circle, an off-white circle, and tried to make it as close to the moon as possible. And when he pointed his Samsung camera into that object, right, the phone recognizes that it looks like a moon and was tricked into thinking that it was a moon. And it created something that had like the craters and all the rough surfaces on that object.
Oh well.
I think so.
I didn't know
Please
that.
don't attack me if I made any wrong quotes.
I didn't know that. No, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, because if that's the case, do better, Samsung.
Yeah, do better. Do better. Would you like to go into space one day?
Yes, 100%. As a matter of fact, I would love to live in space.
Are you sure about that?
Nah, of course not. But maybe for 3 days, 4 days, maybe a week.
I don't think my body is ready. I don't think the human body as it is right now is
Of
ready
course
for that.
not. But I maybe one day it will, and I would love to. But of course we're not made to be in space.
Yeah. No animal no animal's body.
No animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is made to function in a vacuum, right? And so the fact that we don't have gravity like imposed on us, right? Our muscles will atrophy, as in like we don't use our muscles the same to
They will
hold up our
swallow.
weight.
Like they become swollen in the
No,
vacuum of space.
Are you sure they become swollen? I think they become smaller.
Yeah.
That's why like a lot of astronauts, when they come back into Earth, like they cannot walk for some time because their legs just don't.
Yeah, that's because there be like the lack of gravity
Yeah.
and the lack of like pressure. But if you happen to be outside in space, right? Like, which I hope nobody, it's goes through that, because the second you go through that, I mean, you're gone. But if it happens, what it happens is like you get like your body start to become
Right.
become technically like
A balloon?
huge ball,
Like a
balloon.
Michelin man?
Yes,
Michelin.
literally like that.
Michelin man.
You become a Michelin tire.
So do you think that we will find a way to like provide a lot of people the opportunities to go into space in our lifetime to make space travel an industry?
Yes. I feel like maybe I think that especially in our lifetime, I don't think it's going to be a possibility for every single person in this world, but it already is a thing.
Right.
I don't know if you know that. Like with Virgin Atlantic, I guess we didn't learn anything about Ocean Gate, but okay.
Okay. Those just flew right past me. It didn't ring a bell.
Okay, yeah. Ocean Gate is a submarine. The audience probably
The
know.
Titanic thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the name of the company. So I guess we did not learn a thing. But now the space travel is a thing as well. So Virgin Atlantic did it like I think a couple months ago, where they actually did their first commercial flight to space, where a bunch of millionaire people were the ones attending this event, which costed like $250,000.
That's not too bad.
Per person.
That's not too bad. Honestly.
Oh yeah, I can just. What you're gonna use your credit card? Like
No, but it's like less than a quarter of a house. An opportunity to go into space. That's not too bad. What you think?
So you're comparing the opportunity to go into space with buying a house?
Because like for me, many people have houses, right? And so that means that many people can afford to.
Not many people have houses, and not many people can afford houses.
Okay.
Let alone a flight to space.
Right. I don't know.
So-
for me, like I thought it was only exclusive to like the top 1%, but for me, 250,000.
250,000.
So
250,000. I mean, like, not for the common human, like not for the common person that just works for a living, right? It's still up there for the 1%. Because who do you think that has like 250,000 to spare?
I don't
just
know.
to go to
Some people
space?
actually spend that money on like a pair of shoes or a handbag. The rich people.
The rich people, the 1%.
Yeah. And so Right.
They can do it. That's for sure. The 1% can, but like us, the mortals, we can't.
Right.
So
But
yeah.
imagine if,
But I think it's gonna be. I think it'll definitely become cheaper
yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
You know, and it'll be more for like maybe like upper middle class.
right. It would become more and more
They'll get it.
accessible,
I've
right?
And then like many years after, which is that's already out of our lifetime, then it's probably gonna be like I don't know, like buying a flight from Ho Chi Minh City to
Oh
Hanoi.
yeah, imagine those days. So
Yeah.
let's imagine that space travel is already accessible. What do you think we need to prepare in order to get on a trip like that to space?
Right. Well, honestly, like I feel by that time, I hopefully technology will be advanced enough for you to just board the plane and just be up
Really?
there. Right. But I feel like, yeah, but I feel that, there's probably going to be some sort of like guidelines to follow. Right. Like you might have to wear a suit, specific one for this kind of travel. So I think like you should be definitely make sure that that you wear it properly and all of those things. So I don't think it's gonna be a thing where you say, "Hey, I'm going to space, y'all. See you later. What should I grab? Let me just grab a bunch of bottle of water, and how about this mantle for the picnic we're gonna have up there?
Right.
Like it's not. I don't think it's not gonna be something that you just like. We're going to space today. Turn on the car. Let's just fly up there.
Yeah.
And but I feel like you should more than anything. I feel you should prepare psychologically because it's gonna be like a one time experience because space is just wow.
Yeah. For
So,
me, the most important thing would be to get used to the vacuum environment, right?
but that's the thing. You're not gonna be out there.
What do you mean?
It's probably gonna be like, yeah, you're not gonna do like space walking, which is technically going outside into the vacuum of space. Because if that's the case, then you will have to wear like the big suit for you to go out in space. You have to make sure that you are very secure with your handle and the little extender, right, for you to just move around. You will probably have to go through a whole course on how to use the suit and stuff like that. So yeah, but for
I don't know. For me, it kind of when the
I mean,
the
that
more,
will be dope.
Yeah, the more we talk about it, the more I think of traveling because there are people who just want to travel short distances, those who want to travel further, and those who want something like unfiltered or more adventurous. And so maybe one day space travel is going to be like that. There are subcategories for everybody. There are those who want to explore and feel the thrill of going into space and maybe out of the spaceship, right?
That's, I mean, like, yeah,
and
you're totally right.
even like touch the debris or something. I don't know. But those who just want a little bit of a taste, like a very safe environment.
Yeah, they might stay inside the plane.
Right.
But oh yeah, you're right.
What type of traveler do you think you will be? The safe type or
Definitely
the adventurous?
The adventurous one, the dangerous one.
What would be your limit though? Like, what is the most extreme thing that you would be willing to do in space?
Just do spacewalking.
Yeah,
That's extreme enough. Like what?
do you?
That's extreme enough.
What about landing on a planet or like landing on the moon and take back like a moon rock or something? Do you?
I mean, if there's a trip to the moon, right? If there's a trip to the moon, yeah, of course I'll go to the moon, right? But I feel like doing spacewalking, it's more thrilling,
Right.
than just landing in the moon.
Right.
I mean, the moon side, it will be probably the fact that you are in a celestial body that you've never been into, right? But like, but at the same time, I feel like if I'm just doing spacewalk, right? I'm literally floating
Right.
in space. Like what?
Yeah.
Like I'm here floating in the vacuum of
The universe.
space.
Right.
the universe. It's carrying me right now. So it's like that's something that it's, I don't know,
Mind
like
blowing.
super hard, mind blowing, unfathomable, unfun, fun, fathomable,
What is that?
Fun, fathom,
Unfathomable.
fath, yeah,
Unfathomable.
unfathomable.
Right.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. It's something that will be like, hard to grasp.
Right. Another big topic.
But what about you though? What kind of traveler would you be?
Well, I mean, judging from the fact that I'm a very risk averse person, like even for traveling in on Earth, like I don't venture out too far or I don't go off the beaten path. Right, I just stay within the limits of civilizations. I do think that I will stick to the very safe options of maybe wait inside the
So you'll be
spaceship.
the safe.
Yeah, I'm the safe and
safe
boring
traveler.
Karen who,
No, that's not boring.
yeah.
The fact that you actually made it to space, that's
Yeah.
already thrilling enough.
And for me, that's enough.
You know?
Like as soon as it reaches
good.
a certain altitude, I'm like, okay, that's it. I don't need to.
That's it.
I don't even. I don't even have enough bravery to go on a roller coaster, let alone to go out of space and maybe face the risk of getting hit by some debris out there. No, ma'am. So, anyways, I want to move on to another very big topic of space. That is another inhabitable planet. Do you feel like we will find another planet that can sustain life in our lifetime?
There are already many that we have discovered,
Really?
even here in our solar system.
Which
That
one?
that they don't. Okay, planets that are capable of sustaining life. Yeah, there's already a few. There's even the celestial body of Jupiter, which is Titan. That's the name of the Jupiter's moon. One of Jupiter's moon is Titan, but also there's Europa
Wow.
as well. Those are like celestial bodies that are capable of sustaining life. However, they haven't been able to find any yet.
Organisms?
But especially Titan. Titan have a very thick atmosphere, and it's funny because Titan is just a moon, right? And it's just like I think it's like only 2 times bigger than our moon, I believe, and it has a thick atmosphere and it has ice volcanoes.
Well,
Can y'all understand?
but
Like what?
but then
ice volcanoes.
but then what stopped us from like introducing some bacteria into those planets?
That's the thing. Like they are still exploring, and they need to, because the problem is that celestial body, Titan, it has an ocean, but the ocean is like very deep. So it has like, in order for you to get into that frozen ocean, you need to dive down to 80 kilometers deep.
Wow.
80 kilometers deep, that's a lot to drill, and it's probably going to be like many different elements that are totally rare to us that we don't even know what reaction do they make and things like that, let alone the planets that are like further away out of our solar system, right? That are also capable of sustaining life. Those may even have life already, but we don't know yet. And for example, another one that is in the solar system that is a planet, Mars. The difference is like Mars does not have an atmosphere, so there we will have to wear suits and stuff like that. But
That's very.
What?
I mean, I'm not very well versed in this topic to go into details like you, and so like my guess or my prediction can be way off. But I do think that eventually humans will discover an inhabitable planet, but maybe not in our lifetime, because I think
maybe not in our
because
lifetime,
like for Earth to sustain life, it takes so many coincidental variables to match the same time, right? The fact that the Earth axis is not straight, right, is actually a little bit skewed by a certain degrees,
Right.
and its distance from the sun and its atmosphere, and it has volcanoes and all the different elements that are there to inhabit life. I feel like it's gonna take us a while to find a planet that is perfect or that is ideal for.
Like I said, there's many planets like that that have already been discovered. However, they're just too far, and we don't know how to do interstellar traveling yet. Because in order for you to get there, for example, the closest one is like the Alpha Centauri. So that one has it's a binary system, which means binary system is when a is a system that has two star two stars orbiting each other.
Wow, way,
And of course,
way to
so technically two suns.
way to trigger all the social justice warriors. They're gonna be like, no, stars follow a non-binary system.
Bruh, you're about to get
Oh my God.
canceled.
Wait, so a lot of people use the excuse that we may be on the verge of exploring another inhabitable planet so that we don't need to care about protecting the environment on our Earth, right? Because eventually, if it gets destroyed, then we can just move to another planet to live on. What do you think about that notion, that belief?
That is so wrong. That belief is so wrong. Because I mean, like, especially if you think about that now, that's straight up dumb. Sorry. Because like we haven't like we recently were able to, land in the moon for the first time in many years, let alone find a different planet that is habitable for us.
And if we keep
No.
living irresponsibly, what will stop us from ruining the other planet too, right?
Plus, because people think that just because, this earth has been just exploited long enough, right? They believe that if we go to a new planet, that planet is gonna have all of these resources like Earth, and they're gonna be like, like at 100% filled up. So we will have to, we can start harvesting and like make it all from scratch, and then just literally make it Earth 2.0, because
that's not how it works, guys.
Thing.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. I feel like in this planet, we need to start moving towards a more sustainable source of energy. Of course, they've been working hard in finding ways. However, I understand that those source of energies are still, they're more expensive. That's for sure. And then they're a little bit harder to rely on.
Right.
So, yeah, but I feel like it should be that way. We should be moving towards a more sustainable and more health. I mean,
the shift is already happening, but it's happening at such a snail's pace. And I feel like that comes down to the fact that we as humans, we are very narrow-minded deep down. Like, we value our convenience and our the benefits, our short-term benefit, way more than what is out there for like our descendants and our children, right? Even though we say that we care about the environment, but when was the last time we ever like switched off the AC, right? Because we thought about the environment, in the middle of like an intense heat of the summer, right? Most of us.
And that's the thing, like, people think that, they're combating that, right, by using their AC, but they're just making it worse. And then, of course, all of these intense summers with very, very high temperatures, right, that are reflecting now, and like it's becoming even
It's
more
a vicious
hot,
circle,
right?
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious circle, because now people are just using their ACs like more than ever, because it's super hot. It's becoming, unbearable. So they have to just get inside and just turn on the ACs, right? And in the long run, what it's gonna do is it's gonna make it worse.
It's gonna speed up the process of.
It's gonna speed up the process, and then what's gonna be
Right.
next? We're gonna be like living underground.
I feel like not until something catastrophic happens, like for example the COVID-19 pandemic. Will people change their behaviors, right? Because like I said, even though we are aware of all the long-term effects of our behaviors on this earth, we are
Right.
not ready yet to like forego all of our luxuries and conveniences for the long-term sustainability of this planet. And so, yeah, until something happens, like for example, flooding or in like a heat wave that is too intense that it has wreaked havoc on a huge stretch of land, like the entire upper hemisphere, something like that. Will we will we know that it's time that we need to change for the better?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the sun is just like always throwing um uh heat, not microwave, like
Right.
radiation, sorry, towards the earth, and is the magnetic field of the planet the one that is protecting us from that, right? And of course the ozone layer as well, like all the layers that we have in our atmosphere. So the second that that atmosphere gets weakened, right, and like starts to dissipate, like, what do you think is going to happen? All that radiation is going to come straight to us, and it's not going to be
Yeah.
nice, because there's going to be a lot of repercussions
Right.
because of that. So yeah, space in general, it's a beautiful but at the same time scary thing,
I think,
you know.
we are actually moving to one of our last topics. Before
Mm.
we end our episode today, I do want to touch on the last thing that is on everybody's mind, and that is aliens. I know you're interested in this topic as well, because we were talking about this a few days ago. I mean, we all have
Right.
different conceptions about the existence of aliens. But I think overall, we either are skeptics or believers. And I think you're in the camp of
Right.
believers, right?
Yeah. Okay. More than being just a believer, it's more about, like, I feel like logically, because I have, okay, it goes, like, for me, it just goes with the logic. It's not just being a believer or, being a skeptic. It's the fact that it's, for me, it's impossible that, in the vastness of this entire universe, we are the only race that exists and is intelligent. And this is what I've always been saying to people. Like, we are focusing the wrong idea of what an alien is. Because an alien form, it could be like, based in a different sort of element. Like, we are carbon
Yeah.
based, but aliens could be, be based in a different
Element. Or
element,
they may
right?
function in a totally
And
different plane of, yeah.
exactly, or they may even function in a total different plane of existence, of reality in space. So that's the thing. That's why we have. That's why for me it's very hard to grasp all of this. And I do believe that there's something out there. I do believe that there's life out there. It has to
Yeah. Yeah.
exist.
And that
Period.
comes back to the question of like, why are we spending too much money on exploring space? It's because that's one of the few things that we know next to nothing about, right? And even though we think that we have discovered way so much and we are about to reach a point where we don't need to discover new things anymore, it's actually false, right? There are so many questions out there
It is.
that are awaiting us. And so it's kind of like before we had an equipment to look out into space, right? We thought the Earth was flat, right? And for me,
Well,
uh, for or
don't even get me. Don't
yeah,
even get me
yeah,
started on that
and
one. There's a lot of people thinking that the Earth is flat, but that then this is gonna become, a
right,
conspiracy theory.
yeah,
So, because there's so many, there's others saying that aliens already, people that are not from Earth already live here. So, and there are, like in conspiracy with the government, and like there's some sort of like the elite that control this entire world. It's not from Earth. It's crazy.
I feel like there's a kernel of truth to those conspiracies.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a percentage of
Right.
truth for
Yeah.
sure that we don't know. That's why I feel like we are not exposed to all of these truth, because I feel first of all we are not ready. Our mind is not ready for that, and they made us not ready for that.
Right. Well, when you
Yeah.
think of it, I think 2023 is the year of of AI. 2022 was the year of cryptocurrencies, right? People were talking about cryptos
Right.
like left and right, but this year is about AI. Maybe in a few years it's going to be about aliens, right? I feel
No, this year is already about
But,
aliens. Like, have you seen the hearings and all that? And this is the thing. I'm like, people been talking about this for ages. There's even old, very, very, very old paintings, right? Back from the 2nd century or something like that literally paints a spaceship.
right.
So,
Yeah.
am I missing something here?
And
So, why now?
yeah, and the fact that the pyramid was built so impeccably with such little, development, technological
That's another
developments.
thing.
Like how?
And I've seen some TikToks of people trying to debunk this idea that, the pyramids of Egypt were not built by aliens or like a more advanced civilization. They're saying that, like that they're able to do it or whatever, right? Because they have this and this and this tools that can help to rebuild and to recreate the pyramids of Giza. But what we are not seeing is the bigger picture. How?
Right.
If you say that we had such a, not advanced tools to build stuff, how do you manage to make the pyramids of Giza in a very, very,
Time.
very accurate coordinates?
Right. There are so
Spatial, by the way, because it was like, because it's aligned with the Orion belt.
what is that?
Orion belt is like is a constellation, and technically the pyramids of Giza are literally aligned perfectly with that constellation, and it has this perfect, and precise design that is literally like, is the thin of
The depth, the height.
the thickness of a hair. No, the thickness of a hair, distance. So
I feel like
There's-
the pyramid of Giza is kind of like a puzzle piece that the aliens kind of put on this earth for us to be riddled by. It's kind of like they were feeding us these clues piece by piece, so we would not feel too like we would not be fed with too much information that chaos would ensue, right?
Well, in my opinion, what I believe is just the fact that there was a more advanced civilization than us.
Totally.
That's my theory. That civilization that built the pyramids of Giza, all of these other pyramids, by the way, because those are not the only pyramids, by the way. Because that's another thing that I don't understand. How all of these other civilizations from literally different parts of the planet happen to also build pyramids.
Well, I mean, it's a very stable piece of architecture, don't you think?
How? No. How? If they didn't have any way of communicating with each other.
Well, but when you think of it,
How do they
there
come up
are
with it?
only a few shapes that we can follow. Like we can build a house or a structure.
No.
For example, we can build a box.
No.
or we can build.
That's not how it works. No, that's not how it works. Because like when you really go deep in it, like like I said, it's literally different civilizations. How do you come up with the same idea and with the same concept?
Well,
Why are you building pyramids all over the world?
well, I mean, the only thing we can do is speculate, right? I think there were very
It's
limited
speculate,
writings
yeah.
for us to to make a very educated guess on.
But anyways, what I do believe is that the previous civilizations, they were way more advanced than ours,
Right.
than what we have today. And a lot of people might think like that doesn't make any sense or whatever. But I do believe it
Yeah.
makes sense. We're talking about like, by the way, guys, there is literally it's 20,000 years. No, sorry. There is how many years of the human history has been erased? I think it's 20,000 years. From the moment we appear in history, there are still another 20,000 years that did not make it to the history of human race. So
Yeah, there are so many mysteries
Say.
out there for waiting for us to discover.
yeah, this podcast for that, like this podcast should have been like, I don't know, 3 hours at least.
No, but I do feel like we touched on so many topics related to space and stars without going way too deep. I do hope that you guys don't.
Oh, we went deep.
Yeah, but like we did explain a lot of the concepts, so it would become more like accessible and digestible to the normal to our viewers. And so, do you have any last
Right.
words before we go?
I mean, honestly, like, if you ever get this kind of questions asked in your IELTS exam, guys, now you know how to answer. Like, because again, going back to the beginning, if you get a question like this and you don't know exactly what you are talking, what you're gonna answer, you don't have to say necessarily, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't know." You can try to like give your personal point of view then instead. You could say like start by saying something like, "Well, I am not very well versed," like Mr. Thung said in one of the sentences. "I'm not very well versed in this matter, but I believe, in my personal opinion, that this and this and
Right.
that, whatever the topic is," right? But don't give just "Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't
just
know
stop,
really."
right? Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, what the
Examiner?
the examiner wants to know is how you deal with this kind of questions. It's not about the answer itself, if it's right or wrong. It's about how you move around this question.
Right.
All right? That's very important for when you are doing your IELTS test.
Right. And
So-
so I think one of the reasons why I want to do a long form podcast instead of like providing samples is I think that's the way we learn, right? I think
Right.
it's a more effective way of learning how to speak. First of all, you have to absorb and you have to acquire knowledge first. It may be a lot, right?
Yeah.
The way that we approached these questions were very long and would not like be appropriate for like if you would take exactly what we said and bring it to the IELTS test.
Right, of course.
But like I hope that after you heard our discussions, then you may come to a few key points that you can condense and internalize to make it your own opinion. And for me, that's more important than just providing like short samples because nobody wants to be a robot, right? Everybody has their own
Right.
voice, has their own opinion, has their own worldview, and that's why I just want this podcast to be a place where we share our worldview, right? And I want and for you guys to also share your worldview as well. So maybe if you disagree with us, with either of us on any of the points that we made, please feel free to leave a comment down below, right? And maybe we can have a discussion about that.
That's for sure. Like I said before, also in the previous episode as well with Thung, it's like you guys, the comment section is totally open to different point of views, discussions, like ideas. Even if we make mistakes or something like that, you guys can also tell us. Because, like, again, that's another thing. We are always so scared of failure. And what we don't realize is that failure is what take us where we are.
Yeah.
Failure dictates who are we gonna become.
Yeah.
Because if you don't fail, you won't learn. If you learn it and you got it the first time, that's good. But eventually you're gonna fail.
Right.
and it's gonna feel discouraging. It's gonna be it's gonna feel disappointing, but it's not the end, because now you have the experience of how you failed, and now you know what to do to not fail the next time you do it. So don't be scared of failing. None of us are. I mean, like, I'm not. If I do make a lot of mistakes, because of course, like, again, I speak English, but I also speak Spanish, and when I come back to Vietnam, I'm gonna start learning Vietnamese as well. So yeah, wish me luck. But at the same time, you have to be willing and open to
Challenges?
fail.
Yeah, maybe one day.
And that's
maybe
okay.
one day we're gonna have an episode totally dedicated to those times that we
yeah.
failed. I believe that is worth way more than if we were talking about our successes, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And for the most part, like, our successes, like, our success can be little compared to the times we actually failed, right? But they're bigger
Right.
because it's the result of failing. So, anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for watching our third episode today. Remember that the comment section is open. Leave a comment. Also, I know Dong is looking at me like, so okay, you're the host now.
No, please.
It's all right.
do.
I'll let you.
No,
I'll let you.
Well,
No, I just want to make a little reminder, guys. Make sure that you follow our Facebook page, because in there we will have PDF of the vocabulary we used today in this episode, and not only the vocabulary, but also different context and sentences that you can use these words that we use today. So please make sure you follow our Facebook page. It's right here, or here, or here,
Right.
or here, or here. I don't know where we're gonna put it, but it's gonna be somewhere there, and also in the description down below. So yeah, also, you already know what to do. If you like what you're watching, if you want us to continue posting more videos, more podcast videos for you guys, let us know in the comment section, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button, share it with your friends that are also interested in learning about IELTS and stuff like that. That will be amazing if you do that, and it will help us a lot too. So
yeah.
thank you.
You took all the things that I wanted to say out of my mouth, so I don't have any other reminders.
There you go. Should I? Wait a minute. Maybe I should. Like, you say that you welcome us to the podcast, right? And I'll say the goodbyes.
Okay, that's good.
From
that's
now
good.
on, or vice versa.
Right.
You guys decide in the comment section. Let us know. Do you want me to say the goodbyes or the intro, or you want?
I think they want you to do all the talking.
No.
No, I'm just joking.
What are you talking about?
Anyways, that's the end of the episode today, guys. Hope everybody's gonna do well, and I hope that everybody takes care and you guys stay motivated in your IELTS learning journey. Have a great day, guys, and see you guys in the next episode.
Bye bye, everybody. See you on the next episode. Let's go.